Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another presentation of the Silent Sports video blog right here on the Silent Sports and Gaming channel. I'm Troy West. Thank you so much for watching. This is episode 339, and today's date is August 13th, 2026. Getting closer to football season. So, real good time of the year. A lot of preseason games tonight. Um, in the NFL, we're talking NFL, of course. Of course, you see the thumbnail. Russell Westbrook retires from the NBA. Little bit of a shock, but think deeper about it. I think it's a good time for him. Um, we'll talk definitely about that today. Look at the MLB current standings and playoff picture. So we'll see. We start right at 10 today, so fairly on time. Usually something delays it, but I'm right on time today. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate y'all support. Like I said, sorry, been back and forth with doing more of the video game content, but was live last night. Had a decent live playing marathon last night. That was pretty cool. I appreciate you guys. Some people popped in and out, so I appreciate you guys coming there last night. Friday, don't know when I'm gonna do Friday yet. I'm gonna probably think about that today. We'll be live tomorrow night, and we're gonna do our strike and vote Sunday as well this week. I already got some games for you guys to vote on. I'm gonna put up a poll later on today. But thank you guys for the support. We have 504 subscribers. We've been sort of stuck there for a while. Um, but like I said, we continue to grow. I appreciate you guys so much for the support. So let's not waste no time. Let's get right into the show. Um, Thank you guys for being here. I love talking sports. Hopefully somebody comes through. Leave a comment. Definitely feel free to leave comments. Um, I definitely respond to them. So thank you guys so much for watching. So let's go ahead and get into the MLB standings. Um, like I said, a week can really change a lot of things. I think I looked over them just a few minutes ago. It's already been some movement like the American League East, the Rays now have a 6-game lead over the Yankees. That was a little bit tight. That was they got a little bit of breather room there in the American League East. Tampa will be very interesting. They got the best record in the American League as well by far. So um, I want to see what they do in the playoffs. Because they definitely, I mean, I think the Yankees could probably still catch them, but most likely they probably go hold on to win the division. So the Yankees would be a wild card, but uh, it's going to be really interesting to see the Rays in the playoffs. Um, Boston's 10 back, but they still over 500. Blue Jays playing a little better, but still, what's that, 5 games under? 6? 4. Sorry, 4 games under. And the Orioles are 7 games under 500. With the same amount of losses as the Blue Jays, so they pretty much, they in last place, but they right there neck and neck. Central Chicago White Sox is your division leader. 3 games over the Tigers and the Twins. The Indians, the Guardians have fallen off. They 4 back, so real tight in the Central division. Kansas City is just way out of it, 14.5 back. American League West, Houston Astros. I got a feeling they're gonna win the division this year. Jordan Alvarez, I saw some of his numbers. He's probably a leader for MVP, especially if Houston holds on to win the division. Texas a game and a half back. Seattle has fallen off. They are 5.5, and it's 9 under 500. A's and the Angels is out of it. National League in the East, my Braves now has opened up a 9.5 game lead. The Phillies sort of been struggling a little bit. We took advantage of it. Now up 9.5, biggest lead by division for division leader so far. Miami Marlins 3 over, but 11 out. Washington, 4 games under, 14 and a half back. Mets, you know, 20 and a half back, way out of it. National League Central, Brewers still holding on to a 3-game lead over the Cubs. It's pretty much those two teams now. St. Louis is 13 and a half back. Cincinnati 16, Pittsburgh 16 and a half. And in the West, Dodgers 8.5 game lead over the Padres, but the Padres been playing a lot better. Arizona Diamondbacks 9.5, and then a big drop off 23 for San Francisco, 25 for the Colorado Rockies. So, but now let's look into the wild card, and then we're gonna go jump right into the NBA. Your wild card leaders in the American League: Yankees, the number one; Boston, the number two. Yankees plus 8.5, Boston plus 4.5. Texas in that last spot. Then you got Minnesota and Detroit just a half game back. Cleveland 1, Toronto 1.5, Baltimore 2, Seattle 4, and then it's the big drop off. Kansas City, the A's, and the Angels are pretty much done for. National League: Cubs are your number one wild card plus 7.5. Padres the number two plus 1. Arizona in that last spot, well tied with Philadelphia, but I think Arizona will probably own a tiebreaker, I guess. Miami 1.5, St. Louis 2.5. Then a little bit of a gap: Washington 5, Cincinnati 5.5, Pittsburgh 6, and then sort of similar 3 teams that's pretty much done: Mets, Giants, and Colorado. Crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Like I said, still got a lot of baseball left. Like I said, you see the wild card so tight. Some of the divisions are still tight, so got a long way to go. But I still think I don't want to say collision course because I think the Yankees are going to struggle. I'm not sure about them getting out the American League. You got to get Tampa. They respect as well. But I see it being Dodgers, Yankees this year. I think the other teams still, even, well, I mean, it's honestly, for Tampa, I just don't know much about them, but they got the best record in the American League, so you got to throw them in that hat. But I think it's going to be one of those 2 teams. And then the National League, like I said, till the Dodgers lose, um, I don't see nobody beating the Dodgers. They're just too deep. They're going to get healthier when the playoffs come around. Struble, like I said, I mean, it's sort of quiet down, but that still was a big trade that they made for him. So, um, yeah. So, that's how I look at it. So, but like I said, next week we'll look and see um where the standings land there. Things change in a week. Like I said, teams are only a few games here and there. 1 week can flip it. So, um, long way to go. So we'll cover it throughout the rest of the summer, the rest of the season. So, okay. So, like I said, we're done with baseball. Let's move on to the NBA. Before we talk about Russ, the LA Lakers got sold for $12.5 billion, which is a new record now. I saw something that um, that the Cowboys are the most had the most value. I think they had 15 billion if they were to be sold, and I thought about, wow, like Jerry Jones is, he's getting up there. I would be shocked if and I ain't gonna get too much off topic, but in the next few years he just sells the team. But I don't know. I think Jerry's also, now I think about it, I think Jerry's a little bit too egoistic. And then his family's in it now, his sons and stuff. So I think he gonna leave it behind for them. I think they gonna own it for a long time. Like the Lakers family, the Bus family owned it for a long time. So it's just weird, that the buses don't own the Lakers anymore. But um, It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy though. Like I said, these teams just continue to grow in value. But Dallas got a good brand, so I'm not shocked that they the most valued franchise in the world. Um, so we'll see. But yeah, that was just some interesting news there. Um, okay, I was going to talk about the NBA schedule today. I know they already released like the Christmas Day games, um, which I think is a good lot. I think the Knicks always traditionally the Knicks play at noon. But I think Christmas is on a Sunday this year, so that's weird. So you got the NFL, even though I think the NFL is going to play their games. Um, that Saturday will be mainly, but they still got 3 games Sunday. Um, but in between the NBA, I think the Knicks. Of course, you know they just won a title. They play the Spurs at noon. They always play at noon on Christmas Day. That tradition continues. I think you got Philly going against the Lakers. That's an intriguing match. Of course, LeBron goes back to LA. Um, I think it's Boston. I know it's Denver. I think at night it's Denver. I know the Nuggets is traditionally play on Christmas. I forgot it completely. I can't. Let me see if I can pull it up here. But yeah, they released that. Yeah, Heat and Celtics. Yeah, that's the matchup. I mean, Heat and Bucks. I think. Or the Heat and Celtics. I think it's the Heat and the Celtics. So very good Christmas schedule, but the NFL's in between that. You got I think you got the Bills and Broncos playing that day. So Christmas about for a sports fan, Christmas is gonna be basically I would be trying to watch all of it. Well, my son would be born by then, so I don't know how busy I'm gonna be Christmas Day, but I'm definitely gonna try to tune into all the games that I can. But NFL try to take over, man, and they try to take over Christmas now. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But good lineup of games. So now that I touched on that, let's talk about Russ retiring. Russell Westbrook. I think he did it on social media yesterday. Retires 18 years. That just make me feel old. That he's been playing for 18 years. Like that's crazy. I remember that young Thunder team. Him, Durant, and James Harden. But he put some thought into it because I think I'm reading here in the article that Michael B. Jordan pretty much was he put together a little video and he was narrating it. Um, but Russ, um, of course, he started with the Thunder. Um, he did have offers though. Washington wanted to bring him back. The Kings wanted to bring him back. Um, so he wasn't like just hanging out there. Um, but sorry about the pause. I'm just looking over the article here. Um, is of course he's gonna be known as a Thunder. That's clear. He hung in there. Of course, it's hard. He got traded. He didn't leave per se, but now you look at Harden's career. Probably was a good decision to leave. To be traded to trade him for him and for the Thunder. Durant hung in there. He leaves, go to the Warriors, win 2 titles. Westbrook hung in there. Then he finally leaves, gets traded. Uh, um, he goes to Houston, reunites with James Harden. That really didn't go too good either. Also played for the Nuggets, the Wizards, the Lakers. The Lakers situation, like I said, I talked about it last night on my live. Um, yeah, I don't want to put it all on LeBron, but I guess LeBron thought it was going to work, and it didn't. But Russ is just, um, as they say here. is an ultimate competitor. I mean, Sam Presti said that, and he is like, if you know anything about basketball, this guy he doesn't cheats the game at all. He will go 100%. Even at his age now, um, to talk about his game, jump shot never was pure, but he could hit it. Triple double machine, of course, all time leader in that. I talked about it last night. 209. The Joker's right behind him though at 198, so the Joker's going to catch him. Um, Oscar, of course, was third. And I was talking about Oscar last night. Like what he did in that era to get put up the triple doubles is insane. Um, but the Russ to do it in a modern era is very impressive because he averaged a triple double for what 3 straight seasons, one MVP. What year did he win MVP? The 2017. Yeah, so carried the Thunder because, like I said, he was only one there. They get Paul George, and Carmelo. That didn't pan out well either when he was in Oklahoma City, but uh, definitely one of my favorite players of all time. Hall of Famer, there should be no question. Um, and I'm glad he's choosing to go out this way. Some players like I was saying this last night, like Allen Iverson, for the players, um, so used to being at a certain level, you don't want to, come off the bench or things that even though Russ did that the last couple of seasons. Um, so uh, I'm glad, like I said, he get to retire on his own. I'm a little surprised because I know he still got the juice in him to do it. So this is ain't like he just got old type of thing. I think he probably just burned out, especially a player like that playing as the way he played all his career. Might just be burned out, ready to just relax. He got a family. Maybe he's just ready to be, go home to his family. Um, had some controversial moments with fans at times. Um, yeah, he didn't take no BS. I put it that way. He don't take no BS. I remember the situation in Utah. Fans was heckling him, saying certain things. Um, like I said, him and LeBron thing, I'm not gonna get into. I mean, you heard what you heard. Um, but like I said, I don't know LeBron, but I mean, just on the outside looking in, look at how Rush carried himself and how LeBron carried himself. Probably just wasn't a good match. Um, but this guy, he's a Hall of Famer. He deserves it. I'm glad, he did it, in a subtle way. Like to compare him to LeBron. LeBron, like I said, LeBron is not going to do it this way. He gonna announce it going into his last season so he could get serenaded all across the league. That's how LeBron's going to do it. He's not going to just be sitting at home and just post, "Oh, I'm retired." No, I'd be shocked if LeBron do that. And I think he's going to play probably throughout this 2 year contract. Um, so, but congratulations to Russ. I mean, sad news, but I'm happy for him though. At the same time, I'm gonna miss seeing him play. Um, we got all these great players that never won a championship. Of course, that's going to be the narrative as well. Um, but like Allen Iverson, he's one of the first names that come up. Reggie Miller was one of my favorites growing up. I wish he would have won one. Um, Pat Ewing of those Knicks teams in the '90s. But Michael Jordan said no to those guys. Allen Iverson, got there. The mighty Lakers was waiting for him, and like I said, to win that game one. I thought they was gonna get swept. To win that game one like to me was validation for AI to me. And Russ, some of the things he's done. Of course, he's been to the finals. The Young Thunder team, but the Heat was just, why the Heat was formed. And to hang in there, OKC, I give him respect for that. So he's gonna be known as a Thunder. So congratulations, Russ. Definitely get your respect here as a player for me. Um, I don't understand the criticism sometimes with him because he give you all he got. Um, so to me, that's enough for me. So all right, so we're done with the NBA, and like I said, it's a quiet time of the year for the NBA anyway. Um, but that ain't too far away either. Like I said, the schedule come out today, the full schedule today at I think it said 3 o'clock Eastern. So next week we'll dig more to the schedule then, so I can really look at it and go through it. Some of the biggest things we look at the Christmas schedule, so we'll focus on the schedule next week. Okay, let's dive into the NFL. Um, the NFL. Like I said, I touched on the quarterback battles this week, but some of them's been decided. Minnesota named uh, Kyler Murray they starter officially. Um, not surprised, not surprised. Why would you bring him in? Um, Played on the minimum contract, but I mean, JJ McCarthy. Um, I mean, some people are still believe he's going to be. I do. I'm not going to dismiss him yet. But I just think uh, he just ain't had a chance. He's been hurt. Um, in Minnesota, you see what they did for Sam Darnold. Um, so we'll see if Kyler can turn the corner. But not surprised that he won that job. The Atlanta job, if this means that they tour is starting their game um, this week. What day do they play? They play tomorrow night. Um, he's the starter, so I guess if you look at it, he's at least in this driver's seat to win the start job. So we'll see how that goes in Atlanta. Cleveland, like I was saying this last night, Shador and Deshaun. I think Deshaun pretty much the start. I think Cleveland just don't want to announce it. So Shador, and I like Shador. I'm rooting for him. I think he's going to get his opportunity this year because even if Deshaun is the starter, I don't see Cleveland really doing much. So they go probably wind up putting Shador in there anyway. But um, I think it's. I don't want to compare him to Tebow because Tebow he's a much better player than Tebow. No offense to Tim Tebow, he was a good player too, but um, Shador at least have the ability to throw the ball more consistently than Tim did. Just I think it's today's just the overhype with social media and everything else. I think he is Dion, probably one of the best football players of all time. Not probably he is, especially at corner. Um, so I think it's nostalgia. Um, but I think this is weak by the Browns though. I think they need to just go ahead, announce Deshaun the starter, get it out the way because that's what's going to happen. They invested too much in him, so he's going to start. Um, I'd be shocked if she should throw the starter to start the season. So they might as well just go ahead and announce it and stop playing these games. And start worrying about. See, I think that's what teams mess up when you. And I'm a fan myself, but when you worried about the public perception and the fans and uh, all that stuff, that to me, you're already taking a step back because you basically admit that the noise is bothering you. Um, so I think they just go ahead and announce the starter and get it over with. Um, Everywhere else, well, now the Cardinals played last week in the Hall of Fame game, and they played. Did they play tonight again? We're gonna look at the preseason schedule for the week. Go through the games real quick. Uh, but yeah, they play again tonight. At the Raiders. That's a quote unquote national championship rematch because Carson Beck will probably be starting for the Cardinals again. Um, and he had a good showing. Even though they lost, he played well last week. Um, Jacoby Brissett sort of not happy with his contract. Um, but I think Jacoby's going to start out. I mean, this is a good sign that Carson Beck can play though. But I'd be shocked. I don't think it's a real competition there. And the Raiders, like I said, I think they pretty much lean towards Kirk Cousins to be the starter. But Mendoza probably get a lot of playing time tonight. So that's an interesting game to look forward to. But yeah, but to go back to the Kyler Murray thing, like I said, I believe in Kyler Murray. Some people don't. I do think he has to rein it in a little bit. The little playground stuff got to be down to a minimum. I think he got to throw the ball on time. If he could do that, Minnesota's going to be okay. Minnesota might be, I don't want to say a surprise, but I mean, if he plays well, the defense is going to do what they do, and Minnesota could be. Because I like the Bears, and shout out to my man Caper, but you just hit a tough division. Detroit got an easy schedule, so they might be right there as well. So it's going to depend on the division games as well. Green Bay is still Green Bay. But I think Green Bay, like I said, I think Green Bay has been overhyped the last couple of years. Like I said, I think Jordan Love is the answer, but they overhyped. They gotta rein it in. They don't have Micah for the first half of the season, so um, and then but the Bears they gonna be challenged, but I like them. I picked them to win the division if I had to choose right now. We get into predictions and stuff later on, but Minnesota could be that team that rises and be a real contender in the NFC. Like I said, them I like the Saints. Um, Tyler Shuck he showed some flashes. They in the weak division, so the Saints look out for the Saints this year. At least to be a playoff team. Not saying they're gonna be a real contender in the NFC, but they could be a playoff team and win that division in the South. Tampa's having a little bit of issues. Atlanta, like I said, we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Carolina's okay, but um, they did win the division, but can they take a step forward? So AFC, like I said, I think it's the Bills. The We'll see if the Chiefs can bounce back. I like Denver. I think they are sure fired contender. Um, Ravens, like I said, as a Ravens fan, of course, I'm a little bit biased, but I think if we stay healthy in Cincinnati, I think it's going to be a group of those teams right there that I just said. And then the NFC, like I said, it's the Rams, of course. What they done is Aaron Donald going to come back? I guess that's the only question. But even if he don't, they still going to be a huge contender. Niners got a lot of problems, but they still going to be a contender. Seattle, don't dismiss Seattle either. Just won a Super Bowl. I think some people still don't believe in Sam Donald, so I think they're going to wait and see how he plays. Um, but can't dismiss Seattle either. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season. To say the less, it's gonna be probably one of the hardest to. Other than the Rams is an easy choice, but I don't know. I like to think somewhat out of the box sometimes because every time we crown a team, something always go wrong. Hopefully, it's not injury wise, but it's just like they just don't get it done. So I might not lean towards the Rams. I might just pick another team just because just because of fate, I guess. But we'll see. Okay, let's check out the games for this week. Of course, tonight, um, Lions and Bengals. Of course, both of these teams are established, so probably you'll see a lot of the young guys out there playing. Packers Steelers sort of interesting. If it was a regular season game, it'd be probably hyped up, because Aaron Rodgers used to be a Packer. So, um, but again, these two teams pretty much know what they're gonna do. Colts Patriots. Same thing. I've been hearing some talk about AR. They might trade AR or release him before the season. I like Anthony Richardson. Like I said, I was a Florida Gators fan. I just think you need somebody to be patient with him and take time to develop him. Maybe a year or two to develop him. You only have to play much. Just develop him. Get the fundamentals down. But he has the arm talent and the talent to be a quarterback in this league. So that's just a story to watch out for. Chargers, Texans, two teams in the AFC looking to take the next step. Um, but like I said, they already established. We talked about the Cardinals and the Raiders. Mendoza against Beck tonight. Titans 49ers. Titans is an interesting team to me. Young. We'll see if Cameo take that next step. Um, he might play a little tonight, but we'll see. And the Niners, of course, all the issues they have, but as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be competitive. Friday, Bucks and Jets. Buccaneers, like I said, with Baker Mayfield not getting the contract. Jets, Geno Smith. We'll see how he plays. I'm sure he might not play tonight though. Dolphins, Commanders. Dolphins showed in a rebuild. Commanders a question mark team. Like I said, can Jalen bounce back from injury? They did sign Stephon Diggs, so we'll see how that works. Broncos, Falcons. Like I said, two is starting tomorrow night. Broncos, like I said, already established. Um, Eagles and Ravens. Of course, I mentioned the Ravens. Eagles. I just saw this clip this morning. It went viral about Jalen Hurts throwing an interception in practice. I mean, people. Wow. I mean, that's what I said. Social media, man. So it's like a lot of negative criticism on. It's it's gonna be a lot of. It's probably unfair, but there's a lot of pressure on Jalen this year. He had to perform like throwing the football. But like I said, I think they need to lean on Saquon. But I think when it's time for Jalen to throw the ball, he's going to have to perform. Unfortunately, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Um, Vikings, Giants. Oh, this is Saturday. So Eagles, Ravens was the first Saturday game. Vikings, Giants, an early game on Saturday. Of course, Giants with their offseason mess. A lot of noise on the outside. Vikings, like I said, just named Kyler the starter. Panthers and Bills. Um, that kid King looked good last week. We'll see how he do this week against the Bills. Bills already established. Nothing for the Bills to really prove much. Browns and Bears. I think they lead us towards Deshaun starting this game. But Shador get his reps. Bears. Be surprised if you see Caleb. Um, but big year for the Bears. Now they'd be the Hunter instead of the Hunter. Jags and Saints. I mentioned the Saints. I think the Saints could be a surprise this year. Jags, can they be consistent? Can they put together another year? I want to see Travis Hunter's second year. Rams and Chiefs, 4 o'clock Saturday. Both of these teams, already know what they want to do. Cowboys, Seahawks. So it's no game Sunday. Cowboys, Seahawks is that later game. Of course, Seattle, defending champion. Cowboys talking trash, not to them particularly, but just saying Super Bowl or bust and all that noise. So, okay, so that's our schedule for the first week of preseason. Um, and I like I said, I'm pretty much got to start putting together my thoughts, who I think going to represent both sides this year. It's going to be, like I said, NFL is nuts. Um, but it'd be hard not to pick the Rams in the NFC. AFC, it's a handful of teams that could come out. Um, so that's it. That's it. That's pretty much the show for this week. Before we go though, like I said, I'm gonna touch on the WNBA. We're trying to get some WNBA stuff in here. Um, yeah, so I'm looking at here. Yeah, Watson pretty much probably going to start for the Browns this preseason game. I see this news about Jalen Daniels. Um, pretty much doesn't like that LSU is going to let their new quarterback this year use his number 5. Um, Now, in college, I do get the retired number thing is a little just hard because you got so much of a turnover in college. Somebody can come and be there just 1 or 2 years. Um, I like I said, I just try to listen to all perspectives. Um, like I don't like the Shador. Shador got his number retired by Cairo. I didn't agree with that. I don't think Even though he was a great player there, I don't think he did enough um, to get his number retired in Colorado. But they did it. Um, but I always used to think this, like, even in the NFL or any sport, like, it's only so many numbers you can wear. So, like the Yankees, like I use the Yankees as an example. All they got, like, I think all the single digit numbers is retired for the Yankees and more. Not even including the pitching. But I think 1 through 9, I think all those numbers retired. I think in New York. So not a lot of numbers to choose from. There. So I think you- well, this is just me. Maybe just you could do it this way. Sort of still retire the number, but still you can still wear it. But just like maybe if you wear that number, maybe you gotta wear like a patch or something, or some symbol of, like, I would use Derek Jeter. Like if you wore number 2 in New York, would have like a patch or something. NBA do that, like they did about retiring 23 across the league because how great Jordan was. They did it for Bill Russell, number 6. I think so. Uh, I think eventually you'll have to do that. Like there ain't gonna be no numbers to wear. I think you should wear whatever number you want to wear, unless that you go to that team that player has it, don't want to give it to you. But I think still you can still do the ceremony, retiring the numbers and stuff like that. But I think you should be allowed to wear it though. Like I mean that's my opinion on it. But I think this they with Jalen, I think it's more about them basically still using this likeness and making money off of them. So we'll see how that story develops. But as far as the numbers thing, I think that's how y'all should do it because it's just not enough numbers um, to be passed around. We got college football coming up soon, um, so uh, definitely can't wait for that either. Um, Starting to get crazy at college football though, with all these super leagues now. Um, we'll see what Indiana do this year. The Big Ten, to me, is the best conference in football. Probably in basketball too. Think about it, because the ACC used to rule basketball with Duke and North Carolina, what they still do, But the Big Ten right now is the best conference in sports, in college sports, I should say. So, um, all right, let's just look at the standings real quick in the WNBA. Minnesota Lynx, like, just running away with the league. 28-7. They already clinched a playoff spot. Um, Golden State Valkyries. I think this is their first year, right? I can't remember, but they number 2 on 3 games behind the Lynx. Vegas is third. Indiana's fourth. Atlanta's fifth. Washington is sixth. Dallas is seventh. And the New York Liberty is eighth. And it's really a drop off after that. So your 8 teams are pretty much already established. Seattle Storm has already been eliminated. Um, but I think the 8 teams that's here, maybe positions might change, but they're going to be 8 playoff teams because Portland is doing the math 6.5 out of that last spot. Um, I don't know how many games is left, but I don't think it's that many. So um, I think these teams are established. Um, and then the other stuff, like I said, and I said this last week, the basically the race war, gender war, whatever you want to call it, that's going on in the WNBA right now is just crazy. But I think it helps the league in a way. I mean, it helps it stay relevant. Um, but I think honestly, and Caitlin Clark been playing a lot better. Like, you know, she's having a career year. Her and the other guard, I'm sorry I don't remember her name, but them two, I think they went 3 or 4 games, scoring 25 points apiece. Caitlin, like 25 and 10. I think she's the all-time leader in that stat now. So she played good basketball, but I think she like I think she got to win a championship. Like if she win a championship, I think that'll put the WNBA even on a higher scale. Her or Angel Reese, I think it'd be more if Caitlyn did it. Even if Angel Reese do something, playoff wise, maybe win a championship, um, it'll be beneficial to it'll put the WNBA even on a higher level. If she wins, because Caitlyn just got she got a big following, so um, and you got a lot of people that hate her also. So we got both of those. That'll help the league for sure. So, um, and it could be this year. I mean, I don't know a lot about Minnesota, but their record speaks for itself. But Indiana's in the mix, so we'll see what happens during the playoffs. But like I said, we'll talk a little WNBA every week. I mean, I was a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of it now, to be honest. I don't watch it too much. It's not because I hate it or nothing. I guess the weird dynamic with me, like when I like something so much as a kid, and then when I become because I loved the WNBA when I was a kid, I was a teenager. When they first came around, '96, I think it was the first year. The Houston Comets, of course, historic team, winning the first four championships. Then the Sparks with Lisa Leslie, because they was women's with legends, but it wasn't no pro league in America, so they had to go overseas and play. Um, so once we got our own league here, you got to see like Rebecca Lobo. She was one of them. Cheryl Swoops with Houston, even though Cynthia Cooper was a little unknown, but she showed that she could play. Um, Trying to think some other players, but that's how the league started. Then it sort of died off once those players retired. Sort of went into a nosebin. But now that Caitlyn's came and Rose, because it's been other great women players. Uh, Candace Parker, Sue Bird, um, a lot of great WNBA players. Um, but yeah, I think if she wins, she wind up winning the championship. That'll put the WNBA even on a higher level. Um, but it could happen this year. We'll see. But I think it gotta happen soon. You know, for them to stay afloat. So, all right. So that's my show for today, guys. I appreciate y'all. I'm glad I was able to get it in, get it out, get it on time. Next week, I'll let you guys know if it's Tuesday or Thursday, or we have to do something else. It depends on my work schedule. Um, yeah, like I said, Friday we're gonna go live. I don't know what game I'm gonna play yet. Um, Friday we'll go live for Friday night streams tomorrow night, and then Sunday we're gonna do strike and vote Sunday. I'm gonna put up the poll today so you guys can vote or what game. I got the 4 games already in mind. So you guys can start voting today, and I usually close the poll around 3 o'clock Sunday because it might be a game I gotta download. Um, so around 3 o'clock Sunday, the poll will close. I'll probably put that in the description of the poll as well. So that's it, y'all. Appreciate y'all support. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully we continue to grow. Episode 340 will be next week sometime. We'll have more NFL news. Like I said, the NBA schedule released today, so we'll get deeper into that next week. Again, congratulations to Russell Westbrook. He hangs it up after 18 years. Definitely an all-time great. Glad he got to go out on his own terms. Um, and other than that, y'all, I appreciate y'all. I love you guys. Thank you guys for the support. Shout out to Caper. Shout out to all my supporters. And I'll see you guys Friday night live for Friday night streams. Thank you guys so much. I'm Troy Westhead. Thank you for watching the Silent Sports Video Blog, episode 339. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Appreciate y'all. Peace and love.